Greetings, gentle people. This is Dr. English's Book Lovers Book Club, and I'm Dr. English, and I teach English. Last week, I did a review of Midnight at the Electric, with alluding to this week's book called The Light Pirate by Lily Brooks-Dalton, because they both have an ecological or climate element to them, and neither one is explicit, and both are books that really want us to think about what the effects of the climate crisis is. And this one is actually done in such a way that you don't really know that that's about it. I mean, if you read the back of which I suggest you do not read the back of it, because the book list review gives away too many spoilers. But there is a mention of what can happen because of climate change. But I feel like, it's so subtly written that you don't really, it's like you take away from it, not this immediate crisis. Well, from my perspective, it's an immediate crisis, but you don't feel like that. You just feel like this is a story to talk about how one particular person adjusted. It's like evolution in some ways. I feel like that's something that I don't know that was intentional by the author, but it's about how one person evolves in the midst of a change in nature, and it's done so beautifully. So it starts out. I guess this really gets your attention. It starts out during a hurricane with a pregnant mom named Frida and her husband Kirby, who I absolutely love this about this book, is they're just ordinary people. Kirby is a lineman. I actually have linemen, electrical linemen in my family, and I've known other people whose spouses were doing that work, and it's just, to me, it's like dangerous work. But they're very ordinary people just trying to live their lives. And so, from my perspective, The Light Pirate by Lily Brooks-Dalton it's about family, and just the day-to-day struggles that we have as a family. And in this case, it's a day-to-day struggle of living in Florida, and hurricane after hurricane. And but the main focus of the novel is Wanda, and Wanda is Kirby and Frida's daughter, and she is named after a hurricane. But it's really her evolution of she chooses to stay in this town in Florida, and so at this point, when the novel is written, people have been leaving Florida, which is something that I've always thought. I have family in Florida, and I'm at the point now in 2025, like, why would you want to live in Florida? Because, hurricane after hurricane it does their damage. And so I actually question that, why you would want to live there. And this book really helped me to see, like, in particular for Kirby, it's like it's home. And so there's the reticence to leave Florida, that is your home, and everything that you know about your home. And so it'd be like me as a Midwesterner, I would find it really strange, if you're really rooted in a place, it's hard to let go of it. And so that is one thing that I think that the author does really well. Lily Brooks-Dalton really shows us, what it is to be a family, and what the struggles are, and just the emotions. Like, it's a very emotion-packed book, and at one point I just thought, oh, I can't take anymore. It's like, oh, this can't be happening. So in that regard, maybe just a little bit, but I think it actually is what it has to move the story along to know that these things happen. One other thing that I really loved about this book, that I appreciate so much, and I don't know that this was intentional, and it could be, but there's definitely there's a crone in this book, and I'm a huge fan crones in a novel. Ever since I've read Barbara Walker's The Crone, the idea of that, and it's the idea that Phyllis is the crone, and in this story, she is the stable force for the family, for Wanda and Lucas, and Kirby too. And I love that there's this strong female character in this book who is a crone, who kind of oversees, you know, and really you can say she's the caregiver in the story, that she is watchful and she is wise, and she lends support. And I love that that Brooks Dalton has this character in the story to show that there's always someone that you can turn to who is there with their wisdom and knowledge, and you can count on. And so I really love that she included the crone. And it is a novel that you get different points of view from Kirby and Frida and Wanda and Lucas and Phyllis. And I really just appreciated how it's so subtle as it moves along, and the changes in nature are noted, all the way throughout the story. And she does know a good deal about hurricanes, and I thought that was really believable. And I appreciate when an author does, as I said last week, I appreciate when an author has really done their research about, especially natural phenomena. And I grew up in the Midwest, so if I read a book about tornadoes and it wasn't, I would be really irritated and say that's not, it's not credible, because that's not the way it is. So of course I haven't lived in Florida, so I don't know. Maybe this isn't, what what hurricanes are like, but I think it's pretty accurate. So if you really, want to have a book that really, it's just a wonderful, beautiful story, and the transformation of Wanda through the years in Florida. And so I actually, a friend of mine, Heidi, shout out to Heidi, knew that I was teaching the ecological literacy, or the literature, culture, and social justice, and I had been teaching Schusterman's Dry about the climate crisis in California, and she says, "Oh, you might want to do this and read this and have students read this." But I'd already had the book in progress to do, Dry. But if I had a chance to, I would teach this in a climate or ecological crisis focused class. So I'm going to read a little bit from this book, and this is from, I think it's from the power section. He should have, knowing everything Frida didn't. The thing was, when it came time to put something down on the paper, he couldn't think of anything better. He couldn't think at all. Because she knew right away that you were a powerful girl, and she wanted you to have a powerful name, Lucas said suddenly. And Wanda is the most powerful name. Kirby's gratitude is immediate and enormous. Oh, she absorbs this, painting grease circles with her sticky chicken fingers on the surface of the table. No one chides her about the mess. I never thought of it that way. Kirby feels he should add something. She wanted you to know where you come from. And you come from storms, which can be hard, and people don't always like them, but storms are important. They're nature. You come from, he looks at Lucas floundering. He's lost. You come from the elements, Lucas finishes. From the wild. The three of them sit in silence, listening to the weather woman drone on about the cone of uncertainty. That's sort of cool, I guess, Wanda finally says. It is, Kirby replies quickly, relieved. It's very cool. So finally, I always have a conversation about whether I would teach this in a secondary classroom, and I definitely would. It's just beautifully written, and I think in 2025, I think we are doing a disservice if we don't have a book that addresses the climate crisis, and what the future might hold for us, whether we live in Florida or Nebraska or Iowa or Kansas or Missouri or California. I think all of us as humans need to be a little more conscious of what is happening and what is the potential to happen in the future. And this one is just, it just does it so well in such a subtle way. It just gives you, food for thought to think about, like, what's the possibilities down the road. And maybe not my generation, but, my definitely my children's generation, and, and my definitely, certainly my grandchildren and beyond. So you could also do this, put this in your classroom library. You could do it as a book club, literature circle, a novel panel. I think students would really appreciate the beautiful prose in this novel. So that's my recommendation. I definitely think you could teach this, and I think it's time that we do teach books like this to be more aware. So thank you for joining my Dr. English's Book Lovers Book Club. Next week, I'm going to do X, a novel by Elisa Shabazz. I don't think I pronounced that right, but she's the daughter of Malcolm X, and it's also with Kekla Magoon. And I had this book as a book I taught in my introductory methods course as a choice. And so I'm looking forward to reacquainting myself with this, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining. Bye.